Good evening, everyone. Today, we Bison and Bird team want to represent our presentation on the topic Bison and Bird Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion based on the Canadian Corporate Boards. In this project, we total of 3 members, that is Vishal Goswami, Deepika Thakur, and Rahul Narang. Next slide, please. We have some basis, and on the basis, we have to maintain our project. First of all, we have some introduction part on the basis of project. Then we will discuss about the SharePoint, in which we will tell you about our overall status. Then we will talk about the research question and the visualization based on that research questions, which will work as a rough sketch for us. And in the last slide, we will talk about the upcoming goals, which we will proceed in our further time. For the project summary, what is our project? Our project is Diversity, Equality and Inclusion of Canadian Corporate Boards outlines how to build or collect DIA statistics at the corporate board level in public and private Canadian companies. This project primary focus is on the board research for various private and public Canadian corporate boards, and the secondary is to how to analyze the data and how to create a visualization. Our main goal is to create a dashboard which depict the 3 main DEI of our project, and for that project we 3 assign with the work, as Vishal Goswami assigned with a SharePoint, Deepika Thakur is assigned to make a dashboard, and Rahul Narang is assigned to make data analytics and filtering the main data. Now we will discuss about the SharePoint. I will hand it over to Vishal.
Thank you, Deepika. Rahul, I cannot see your screen. Could you please share it again? Thank you. Thank you, Rahul. I am one of the team members of Bison and Bird team. My name is Vishal Goswami. So here I would like to share something about the SharePoint site and the budgeted hours that we have spent on the different tasks, such as the meeting with client, whose name is Nathan, the data analysis and data gathering part, design part, and group status meeting, and so on. Next slide. So here you can see the individual SharePoint report of each person. First is the mine report, the my report individual SharePoint. The second is the Deepika's individual SharePoint report, and the third one is Rahul Narang's individual SharePoint report. So here now I am going to share my screen, and now I am going to explain the SharePoint in detail. So Rahul, thank you. So can you see my screen, Rahul?
Yes, Vishal.
Okay, thank you. So here are the dashboard of our team, the Bison and Bird team. You can see there are 4 quick links here: the minutes of meeting, action item, MRP, high level task list, and timesheet. So here I have updated so many things in the quick links and in the dashboard as well. So I have updated all the quick links. First of all, whatever the Brunilda and ma'am said, so there are 4 quick links, as I said earlier. So I am going to explain the first quick link, which is the MRP high level task list. So here I have added the subtask of the each main task. For an example, the SDLC, which is the software development life cycle, has mainly 7 types. So the first and the last, which is the planning and the maintenance, are not part of the MRP, so we will not discuss here. So remaining parts, like requirements, design, development, testing, and release. So here you can see the all tasks of the software development life cycle I have mentioned. So data gathering is the biggest part, so I have allocate in the separate subtask. For first is the requirements, second is the design, third is the development, and fourth is the testing. But the release is not done yet because it will be done in the next few steps and next outcoming steps. So now I am going to explain the timesheet in detail. So here is the timesheet of our team. So I have updated all the timesheet. For an example, whatever we have done and whatever we are going to do soon. So I have allocated the task of the I have allocated the task of the data analysis and filtering. So I have spent 3 hours on it. So following that, so Rahul Narang was allocated the task of the data cleaning and coding. So he has spent 4 hours, and Deepika also spent 4 hours on the data cleaning and coding part. So we are regularly updating the timesheet with that particular task that we have allocated to each person and each team members. So apart from that, I'm going to explain the another quick links, which is the action item. Here we update all the tasks on the regular basis, and we update the data cleaning and coding, data analysis and filtering, and data cleaning and coding part as well. So I have been allocated the data cleaning and coding part, which is done now. And now our team is working on the data analysis and filtering part. So now I have mentioned here. And apart from that, whatever the task we will working on it, so we will assign here soon. So last but not the least, quick links name is the minutes of meeting. So here we update all the meetings on the regular basis. First of all, whenever we done the meeting with each team members uh, to discuss with our project. So I have updated all the meetings. Apart from that, I have updated the meetings with our client whose name is Nathan for the knowledge. So I have updated for an example, knowledge transfer meeting. So we have updated all the meetings on the regular basis here. You can see the list of meetings by the click links, the minutes of meeting. Apart from that, also we have scheduled the series of meetings with client. So whenever when we have spent we have spent bi-weekly meeting on the regular basis. So apart from that, you can see I have updated the dashboard. I have updated all charts here on, and also whenever we are working on the each task, another task, it will be updated here. So now I am handing over my presentation to Deepika. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal. For our project, the main base is to create some research question, and on that we will visualize. And we have some rough sketches of our questions. For example, employed person based on race and sex, and for that we have a rough sketch. As you've seen on the screen, the employment rate by gender, and we can see women is as compared to man is less, but still their ratio is increasing year by yearly. And from 1986 to 2015, the ratio of man and woman is maintaining to be highest in terms of women, and for the man it can said to be a little bit decline more. And same as for this, we have created some other questions for as proportion of people in different industries as agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting, and the female ratio holding higher position as compared to males. Even for this question, we have a rough sketch. As you can see, there are different positions in different companies. The woman, in some companies, the woman is on the lead, and in some, the man. And for that, we can see the vice president position in which man is leading the role, and for the secretary, assistant secretary, secretary treasurer, the woman is on the lead. Fourth question can be the employment rate on the basis of province of the year, and the And the last question, number of males and females who put share as the immigrant, indigenous identity and visible minority. This question is also be a graphed as a rough sketch. This question is in the visible direction by man and woman. And as we can see, the green shows the increase on the basis of visible direction, and the blue one is the total increase of man and woman in visibility. Now I will hand it over to Rahul.
Thank you, Devika. So, moving on, as we all know, we have completed our data cleaning part, and we have now started working on our data filtering and analysis phase. So, we have basically our team has divided this particular phase into different sub tasks, I would say. So, as we know that the data gathering has been done, moving on, the data filtering part includes formatting of that unstructured data that we got from our previous phase and started working on completing that particular data set into making some proper visualizations. So, before making some visualizations, we need to create some sense about that data set. So for that, this is the most important phase that we have in our project right now. So for the subtasks that we have divided, this particular phase are the formatting of the dataset that has been done, the accessing of different filters, which would help in uh, I would say differentiate the relevant value from the irrelevant results, which has also been done and will be shown in the upcoming slides. And moving on to the creation of different parameters for the data transformation in the Power BI, which is the next step, which will be done after we gain certain expertise and understanding or knowledge about Power BI and certain visualizations, which our team is still working on. So it's an upcoming task and will be seen in the recent coming weeks. Moving on, in the first part, so this one is the formatting of dataset. In all the phase subtasks that we have divided this particular phase, we are gonna give an example like what's the progress till now and how we try to implement that particular part. So in the first one, as we can see here, that it's the formatting of data into tables. So this was a particular example of a dataset that we stumbled upon. So in this particular data set, it shows different types of Canadian corporations, like it could be government-owned, publicly traded, private entities, or maybe unclassified, which has been divided into two further categories, which is male and female. Looking uh, upon this data set as a particular table is a is nice. Like it's not that hard to understand this particular data. But if you want to visualize it, the story is completely different. So we we had to do particular formatting of the data so that we can use this particular data set into visualization. So we created the picture as you can see in the right side, which is the aftermath of this particular data set. So here we basically pushed the male and female categories into another column, which helped in creating better visualizations, which are going to be seen in our upcoming weeks. Moving on to the second part, subset, I would say this is basically changing the structure of the data in a data table. So sometimes it happens like if we are working on a data set and we know that our data is not structured properly and there are some of the values that are missing in the particular data set, then we won't get proper visualization and the data won't make any sense. So in this case also there were some of the redundant values and some null values which were done or given on purpose in the particular table because because it was shown as a table only, and it was never used as a visualization tool. So for that, we manually added some of the data rows, so which looked like the one that we have in the right side, where we man explicitly provided women and men values in the particular data set to complete the data set. Moving on, in the third subtask, this is particularly working on filters and how to access those filters. So for that, we standardize this particular data set. Like in this example, this particular table is a provincial contains the provincial data of all the provinces that we have in Canada, and depending upon the total industries that are set up in particular provinces. So as you can see here in the filter, if a person needs uh, to see like all the industries that have been set up in particular province, like Manitoba or maybe British Columbia, he can easily select that particular province from the filters, and he can get the results quickly. So this is what we are working on right now with the other tables also, to make the value standardized so that it can be easier for us to visualize with the important or the relevant information. So moving on to the additional work that we have done right now. So we were trying to make a kind of a coupled map which contains three or maybe more than three maps which have different information on them. So if we talk about the first one, as we have already talked a little bit about these maps in the previous status meetings, but we are gonna tell you something better, as we got some good suggestions from our client that uh, we have to do some kind of work on this particular map visualizations. Starting upon, like, we added some data points in the visual data set to get our better results. And secondly, our client told us that try to keep these titles and the visualizations and the index or the axis properly explained, so that if a person with a little or maybe a layman language knowledge can also get a better understanding about what's happening in a particular map. So as this map tells us about the all the industries that have the most that have been set up in the different provinces, and which province has the most contribution. So as you can see in our title, which was like shown to the client, we wrote only provinces that have most contribution. So the client told us, like, what kind of contribution are you talking about? So you need to be a little bit specific on what you are trying to achieve. Moving on, it's a similar graph, but it has a lot more information. So we tried putting a little bit of axis on the index in a particular map. It also had some kind of issues with the title, as it wasn't that clear. Like, it was just showing what total industry setup. So we got a good information, a good knowledge from our client on this also. Moving on to the third one, this was the a little chart based on the diversity, as it showed all the tax filers above the age of 25 years with disability. So similar to the maps that we have seen before, it also had some kind of issues with the similar pattern. But the main aim of showing these maps was to, like, we are still working on this particular technique of like compiling these three maps into one, so that with the help of a slicer or something like that, we can just select a particular information that we want, and we which can be visualized easily on the map. So we got some links from the client on that as well. Now I'll ask Deepika to tell us more about the meetings that we had in previous weeks.
Thank you, Rahul. For our project, we have to schedule some meetings with Brunelda and the professor to make our project best. And first meeting we schedule is on 17th of Jan, which is scheduled with Brunelda. She discussed the problems on the SharePoint site and told us to upgrade it. We even discuss about the Excel worksheet and correct the values. And of course, we discuss about the dashboard things and how to arrange the charts, how to make the changes, and we all update our SharePoint, which Brunilda suggested. Even we correct our SharePoint on the which we will be discussed by our professor. And for our upcoming time, we also um, upgrade our SharePoint, and we will proceed it with the better SharePoint site. For our project, we have to schedule meeting with our client, and for that our client provide us a feedback. So we take it as a good compliment, because our client feedback make us better. He told us to use a relevant public data set, and for to increase the range of data set, we have to use the extra data. And for the research question part, he told us to be creative, because this is the main base of the project. And on the basis of research question, we have to make visualization on the dashboard. So by using your creative mind, we have to create the research questions, and carefully heading selection, even with the labels, even with the good texture of the colors, to make the amusing dashboard. He told us to have some creative mind on whole dashboard thing, that it can be easy to understand in a one eye. Now our upcoming plans on our project is of course based on the data, that is to create more questions, and to create more visualization. And of course we analyze the data, filter the data, create more research question, and on the basis of that research question, we will do some visualization, which must be a rough sketch. And then we will client show to our client, and if they will approve us, then we will proceed it to our dashboard. And for that, we even explore the Power BI, and make our dashboard better. Thank you.